Hey everyone, it's Lisa from Primitive Gatherings, and right now we are celebrating our grand reopening, but we have pre-recorded this for you so you don't miss out on any of the fun of doing your weekly blocks. All right, so we are on block 15 right now, so let's get started. So right after this video, you can print this pattern out on lisabongean.com. And what we need for this block is square in the square unit. So we have one blue square and 4 cream triangles. Our triangle paper, a 1x2 triangle paper, and then 2 rectangles to make those half square triangles. Some 4 patches here, and this is for some another 2 patch. So on this one here it says a 1x17. Well, I didn't have 17, so I have 2 pieces that make up the 17 inches. So that's just a little variation from the pattern, but you just oversize that a little bit and we can get our 4 patches out of this. Actually, it's not a 4 patch, it's just a 2 patch unit I think I saw, but I'm gonna have to change that for next week before you guys get it. All right, so then our sashing pieces that go around the square. So that's what we need. So let's get started with the half square triangles, and by now you should be an expert at half square triangle making, and I hope you love that they come out perfect every time. All right, so now I've stitched on all of the dashed lines. Well, maybe not, I missed one here that didn't sew. Okay. We'll go back and do that one. I'm going to hit that other one just in case. All right. So now I'm going to trim on all of the solid lines, all the way around and then in between each of the squares to make the half square triangles. Remember to place an order this week, so you'll be entered in our prize giveaways, and depending on how much money you spend with us, you'll be qualified for our promotions. So do you remember last week when we talked about if you spent like $50 you get a keychain, if you spend $100 you get a keychain, and blah blah blah. So it's all tiered like that. So the more money you spend, you get all the prizes for leading up to those tiers. All right, so now I'm completely cut apart, and I'm going to turn them dark side up, and I'm going to go over to the iron, and I'm going to press the triangles away or open. I like to say open, but we know that we're not pressing the seam open, we're just pressing the triangle to reveal the half square triangle. So to me that's kind of like open. All right, so there they are, and now it's time to remove the paper. I'm going to hold it right in the middle, insert my finger, and then pull apart from the center on all 4 of them. And now they measure a perfect 1.5, just what they need to measure for us right now. All right, so next up, I should follow the directions. We're going to do the 2 strips. So these are the strips that are 1 by at least 17 inches long. So I'm right sides together. I'm going to sew these, and then I'm going to cut them apart 2 different sizes. All right, so now we can press this to the dark, or we can press this open. I like to press open, so I'm just going to give it a quick little finger press there. Open that up, just give it a gentle finger press. Grab my strip stick. And remember to try not to like push those so you have wobbly strips. The less pressure you put on them, it yields nice straight strips. So now it says I need to cut 8 at 1 inch and then 4 at 1.5. So I'm going to cut the 1.5s first because I always try to cut the bigger section first. So 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 is actually 6 inches. So I'm going to put it right on 6. And make sure you can see this good. I'm putting it right on 6, and then I'm going to cut, move to 4.5, because I'm minusing 1.5 inches. Go to 3, and then 1.5. So there is the 4 1.5 units, and now I need 8 1 inches. So I'm going to put this one on 4 here because I have a lot of selvage there. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So I hope you have learned to cut backwards like that. The alternative is to put it on 1, cut, pick your ruler up, slide that over, put it back down on 1 again, and this just takes that much more time to do it that way. So now I'm putting it on 2 and then sliding to 1. So that's just more of a more efficient way to cut. All right, so now I just have one more unit to make over here, which is the square and the square. And you can, if you want, pinch this in half and line those up, right sides together. Or you can just eyeball it. Whatever way you fly. I'm assuming this is oversized. I didn't practice this one. We're practicing right now. But when you're not live, you can stop and start. Hi, honey.
What's happening?
Did you come to visit?
I did.
Do you want to say anything?
Open house.
Yeah,
Next
so
Wednesday.
we are recording right now. So right now we will be at the grand reopening open house having fun.
Excellent.
So they will be watching this at 1 o'clock on Thursday. And we will be, hopefully, talking with customers and having lots of fun. All right, so I'm just going to press these out. And I'm not going to trim them yet. I'm not going to trim until I have all the triangles on. So depending on how good you are at eyeballing, eyeball. If not, if you have to do the pinch every time, do the pinch. And because I have to trim this up, I don't waste time trimming off those dog ears. In case you're wondering why I didn't do that. So now this unit is oversized and we are going to trim it to 2.5 like it says on the pattern. So 1 1/4, I'm going to line up 1 1/4 here and here and then trim. And then just double check to make sure you have 1/4 inch left over from this point. More is okay, less is not. I don't mind it when this square floats. And what I mean by float is there's a little bit of a light fabric showing on that side of the square. That doesn't bother me at all. To me, it doesn't have to be like land perfectly at that point. I'm perfectly fine with it floating in there. Okay, now it's time to put the block together. How's our view, Kaylee? Can we see everything good, or do I need to slide forward?
I think you're good.
Okay. All right, so looking at the diagram, I'm going to start with my square and a square. And then I am going to piece together, let's see, 1, I'm just going to stack them. 3, where's another big one? All right, it'll show up. Oh, here it is in my hand. Okay, there, like that. And then these go 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. So this is going to be sewn together for that unit there. And then these are going to go on the edges. Like this. Just looks big, doesn't it? So I'm going to sew all these together first. And we have that little nesting thing going on. Just pull that back to make sure it's in the right spot. Pull back. And I know these units might be little, more little than what you're used to, but it's really the same 1/4 inch seam allowance. And if you don't have a single whole throat plate, that might be the best thing for little pieces. And I talked about that early on in the beginning of the stitch along. All right, now I got to add the other side. So I know we have no giveaways during this pre-recording, but we have lots of giveaways for the grand opening. Make sure you are entered in to win some of those. You can win a Bernina, a light table, a whole bunch of goodies Moda sent us. We're going to put together some huge gift baskets from Primitive Gatherings. I like this tool better than trying to cut those apart. These things work so good. Okay, so now it's time to press that open. So I'm just double checking to make sure everything's the right size. And it looks that way. Now I'm going to press these open. So just give it a quick little finger press before I throw it on my bar or my stick. So I'll just take a minute here just to finger press everything open. All right, back to the design board. All right, light goes in. Don't want to mix that up. There we go. It's a little busy until you get it all stitched together. All right, looks good to me. Now I'm going to sew these two together and then add the third row. And if you're a pinner, by all means pin, but if everything lines up, I feel no need to pin. All right, back up, put them back where they go. To make sure I sewed them to the right side. Okay. Adding the last pieces. It's called Look Twice and Sew Once. Okay. These are going to go open again. Sometimes with that starch, they just kind of stay open, and it's really easy to press them open with just that little finger press. All right, so now I am going to do a couple pins here right on these seams. Line that up, pull it back, make sure it matches nicely. Insert my pin. And I always like keep my pin just short of where I'm going to stitch. So in that inside of that 1/4 of an inch. And then I don't have to stop and take my pins out while I'm stitching. Oh, it looks good. Now this one. So do you notice I didn't press that open right away? I try to do all the pressing at the same time when I can, instead of stopping and going to the iron and then coming back. I can add this second side without pressing that first side. Just some little tips to make you a little more efficient. Okay, now we're going to just press these open. Lots of little seams there going a bunch of different ways with all those little units. There we go. Now it's time to add the sides and then the top and bottom. I kind of like it live better. I feel it's more interesting, more interactive. But sometimes you have to do what you have to do. Because I couldn't imagine stopping during what's going on and you have me do this. No, that wouldn't be fun. I'd be like half lost my mind by then, probably. Okay, 2 more seams. Oh, I just love it when it all lines up perfectly. All right. Everything's pointing the right way. Looks like I got it. Because isn't it nothing more frustrating than when you get your block all done, you get the sashings all done, and you notice that one of those little units is turned. So I always try to check along the way to make sure that isn't happening, but don't think it doesn't happen to me. It does. Okay, so let's pick out a stripe combination here. I think I like that. I just need to trim this side up here. Try to keep the top on the top. I love it when people tell me how much better their piecing has gotten with the introduction of starching and the triangle paper. All of these are all little tools to make your life easier. We're just not here to sell you something. Everything that I promote has a purpose. I just don't try to sell you something just so I can make a sale. I truly will use it. One more open seam, and remember that last set of stripes is oversized, so I didn't really have to line anything up because I'm going to be trimming that. All right, one more trim, and then we will be done with another block. I'll be on vacation next week.
You don't know what vacation is.
I know, right? Someday. Okay, everyone. This is a completed block 15. So I hope you enjoyed watching me stitch this block, and I look forward to seeing you live next week for block 16. Bye now, everyone.